your first cohort here at the VCA. And welcome for your first class, Patrick. We are so happy to have you here today. And both of our mentors today will introduce to AlterHEN, and I will share all the links that you guys need to deep dive this kind of platform. And yeah, I let you guys speak. I leave you the floor, and I shut up myself because I talk too much. Enjoy
Thank
the
you,
class,
Mathilde.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mathilde. Hi, everybody. So I'm Patrick Tresset. I'm an artist. I'm a new media artist. So I had an activity before NFTs. I do installations with robotics element. Yeah, you can see a bit behind me. There's a robotic arm. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about AlterHEN. So actually, with the pandemic, my normal artistic practice stopped because it's based on exhibitions, and without exhibitions, there's no practice. So that stopped, and I started on NFTs and on Tezos because I was waiting for a clean alternative to Ethereum. So I joined Nuke on the first week when it opened. And so it was all exciting, as some of you know, at the beginning of Nuke. And it was this big community that appeared over the few first weeks. And after some time, there were more aggressively commercial practices that entered the space. And also it became a bit less comfortable at the time for people who had an artistic practice before and where exhibiting the work is important, how the work is displayed, and so on and so forth. And at the time, I was talking to Diane. I can't remember why, but we were exchanging things. And at some point, we said, "Oh, we have enough. We have to create our own group and things to kind of push our own ideas and to create our own space in a certain way, with a different way to show art, more based or something in between NFTs and crypto practices and contemporary art or new media art or traditional institutions." And so we worked on this idea, and at first it was only a Discord space, where we would have a space with releases and we would post each other's work. Oh yes, and first we had to find some colleagues, some people to be part of AlterHEN. So with Diane and Somatic Beats, we each chose eight artists, 8 or 7. No, yeah, I can't remember. But anyway, in total we were 20 artists. Oh yeah, we chose 6 each. And in the end, so we were 20 artists, and we chose the artist of, on Twitter, on Nuke or on different things, you make friends by the work you collect and the affinity of people you find online and with their work. So we chose our artistic friends like that to join us on AlterHEN. That was and so at the beginning it was only about conversing and posting each other's work on Twitter, because how boring it is to be reposting your own work. So. And at the same time, I was talking to someone called Pierre-François, who is secretary of a thing called the Immaterial Future Association, who tries to promote healthy use of technology for the cultural industry or cultural institutions. And we were talking about Nuke and things like that, and AlterHEN that we just funded. And we say, oh yeah, maybe we need to develop an exhibition space or our own gallery space in a certain way online. And they suggested that we should apply for a grant from them. And so we got a grant that enabled us to develop a site that is AlterHEN now, which is a space where we can display work where really it's the work first and buying is secondary. I mean, secondary. It's still NFT, so it's still the point in a certain way. But the first thing is to have exhibitions. So I don't know if you've been on AlterHEN, but it is a collection of different solo shows in a certain way. There are different collections of solo shows. And so we had a few exhibitions and a few things. So the exhibition space, and after we do experiments with, because we are trying to bring the traditional contemporary art world, both institutions, less the commercial art world, more institutions and like new media artists or so on and so forth, to NFTs. So we have different experiments and we do that. Now Diane can talk a bit more about this side of AlterHEN.
So more than just jumping on the experimentations, I will actually present the website. This was our first experiment. So I'm just sharing my screen now. And basically, because we are all coming from the traditional art market, because we were all artists before the NFT space actually was blooming last year, we actually felt that it was good to also, I would say, nurture or replicate what we are used to. So this kind of very comfortable place, which is, when I'm saying comfortable, it's saying without pressure of time. So just a place where we actually highlight art more than anything else. And that's something that Patrick actually already underlined. So basically, when you arrive on the AlterHEN website, you have this very nice animation, which is quite meditative, I find. It's just like calling for people to slow down and to actually feel more anchored in the space they are entering and feel that they are entering a space. So it's not just one tab on your browser that you actually scroll down very fast and then you jump on something else, but it's really calling for slowing down and taking the time to appreciate art, taking the time to understand the artist, taking the time to read about it. So I will just guide you through this website. So first of all, you have a presentation of AlterHEN. It's exactly like going in a museum. We really followed the same visitor flow, meaning that you actually have to push this first door and then you enter the museum. You start to understand, in what kind of place you are entering. You start to understand the culture of the space. And then you start to dive into the collection and you have to decide different exhibitions that you want to see. So basically, you arrive here and then you click on exhibitions and then you have different kind of possibilities. So we organize different kind of group shows, but also we have guest exhibitions. Not all of them are actually online now because we're working on the website, but I will maybe show you what we have done with the last exhibition. So you click on view exhibition, and you really need to imagine that it's really like entering an exhibition space, a temporary exhibition space, where you have this big visual, which is giving you a taste of what you will discover. But you also have a text explaining what this exhibition is about, or what the experience that you are about to live will provide. So, for instance, here, the whole concept of this group show was really about inviting non-NFT artists, like traditional artists, to mint their first NFT with us, because we believe that having a friend taking your hand is way better if you want to start something new. And then you basically discover the group shows. So, for instance, Liuba, she's actually a traditional artist who minted her first NFT last week with us, and then you enter. So very important is to also have a small bio of the artist and the curatorial statement. So better understanding the series of artwork that the artist will actually show. So I will also show an artist, for instance, if we take Patrick. What is really special also on AlterHEN is that Patrick actually made the portraits of all the 20 core members. It might seem nothing, but it is actually creating beautiful coherence when you experience the website, and it is also giving you this impression that the artist is actually looking at you, and it's creating this really strong human bond, which you don't find if you go on other platforms or on other NFT marketplaces. Again, it is not about scrolling down, but it's really about taking the time to understand the artist and the exhibition. And then you basically enter the exhibition, and then you don't have a huge exhibition. It's only 4, 5, 6 pieces, and that's it. And of course, you can buy directly the artwork on our website. But yeah, as you see, it's really about enjoying. And yeah, then you go back and you see the past exhibitions again with a long text, really explaining what it is about, and then you enter the exhibition. Yeah, I will maybe pass the mic again to Patrick, if you want to tell us about I don't know, maybe one of the last exhibition that we organized.
Yeah, I mean, am I connected? Yeah, the sound is connected. Is it? Yeah, hold on.
It is.
Yeah, I'm going back the video. I like to see myself when I speak. Yeah, so we had so we are now at our fourth exhibition. So as Diane mentioned, the last one we invited some known crypto friends and people we knew in real life that we admired the work of to join us and to prepare this exhibition. And after we had also some of the founding members who have exhibited some new works, because it is quite a flexible group. Like, we are not forced to take part in each event. It's like that. If you feel like it, if you have some works, then you're part of the show. Otherwise, there's no obligation. So we had that, and the previous show actually was with the Aksenov Foundation, which is a big Russian foundation who exhibited some of their artists. So I have to say a word first, is that so we opened before the event in Ukraine, and actually we had the last talk, we had a panel, and that was just a few days after the beginning of the war, and which made it kind of easier for us is that the head of the foundation, Dmitry Aksenov, published a post on Instagram saying that he was against the war in Ukraine, so that made us easy. But anyway, so the exhibition is special by the Aksenov Foundation, so there are also Ukrainian artists among that, but they are all non-NFT artists, but who are top artists, who are represented in museums. And interestingly, so they took people from the foundation's collection, and they asked who wants to be doing NFTs, and actually only young women and old men accepted to do NFTs, which is quite interesting. And the two older artists are artists who were active during the USSR, including, I can't remember his name, but who was a dissident in New York doing art about Lenin and Coca-Cola. I don't know if you can pass it. Yeah, and he's very well known. I mean, his work is at the MoMA and so on and so forth. And the quality of this show is very interesting. And they really played the game, like lots of the NFTs are animated versions of some of their work, except for the young artists. Some of them have done specific works, but they're all kind of new works specifically for this exhibition. So yes, and the previous exhibition was a group, another group show. So our group shows don't have especially a theme for the moment. We might do some in later, but they are more considered not as a group show, but as a collection of solo shows. So each show by an artist is very coherent. It is what or the constraints that we put is to have some. And we have a great variety of artists amongst 20 of us. But we have the gender parity. We were very careful about that. And otherwise, there are Brazilians, Filipinos, Europeans, Americans from LA, from also Canada, and I mean from a bit everywhere, you know. How it is. It's representative of the people on Iketnuk, because we all come from Iketnuk. So we're all mainly Tezos based. Some people have started to use Ethereum or other platforms, but it's mainly for the moment Tezos.
May I just add something? I think also what is really special with AlterHEN, and it's something that you can see, for instance, in our last exhibition, is that we really try to advocate for accessibility and affordability. So we actually have artworks which are quite cheap, but also artworks which are way more expensive, but it's really the combination of this variety of offers which are actually making AlterHEN quite special. You can have artworks with really large edition, but really low prices, one-on-ones with high price. And it's really this diversity, exactly like Patrick was saying, the diversity of artists is really at the core of AlterHEN, but also the diversity of offers and of disciplines, meaning that we have GIF artists, photographers, people doing performances, 3D objects, way more. I'm actually missing it now, but it's actually quite fabulous to see this diversity and always this coherence. How people are actually trying to work on a series and talk about it.
Yeah, but no, I think about the price range. It is important for us because I mean it is one of the pleasure of Iketnuk. It was actually the first pleasure was to collect each other artist works, and it's easier to do it, you know, if it's just a few Tezos. And it is very important for community building, because as soon as you collect the work of another artist, you create this link, this strong link. It becomes this, and so we keep that also because we believe that in future, we hope that in future, the act of collecting will be democratized via NFTs. So we imagine, you know, that there are a lot of people going in museums, a lot of people going to art fairs, but actually very few people buy artworks. They buy catalogs, they buy postcards, and so on and so forth. So sometimes they travel to see an exhibition, but they don't collect art because it's too expensive or too. But with affordable NFTs editions, then anybody could get into the pleasure of collecting, and you know the pleasure you have of choosing artworks, looking, discovering, searching, you know, looking at what other exchanging, selling, and really to build a collection. And we really believe that it has the potential of becoming a new cultural activity, this kind of thing. So it's why we try to push to have editions, affordable editions, you know, in the range of prices.
Another experiment that we have run was actually understanding that even if sometimes it's just 1 Tezos or 2 Tezos or 3 Tezos, it could be actually a lot for some people. So we tried something else, which is actually our museum shop or gallery shop. So basically, we are creating postcards of NFTs. All of the postcards are actually being sold at 0.5 Tezos, and they are having this very large edition of 500. And that's, you know, just again to go with the idea that you can collect like becoming a art collector or NFT collector is actually a practice, or is actually a new cultural practice, accessible and available for everyone. And this availability and this full inclusion is really, really important for us. So each time we organize an exhibition, we try to have postcards. And in the future, it will be also a way for AlterHEN to also get some funds, so we can invest in different things, or in new experimentation, or in new exhibitions. So I don't know if you have questions. Maybe this concept of postcard is a bit strange for you. Just just feel free to ask.
Yeah, the idea of the postcard actually came from I think, Diane, you knew. Well, we got contacted by this company called Ask Mona in Paris. It's a cultural company. It's in the cultural industry. They do chatbots as guide for museums or for cultural institutions. Sometimes you go to the website of a cultural institution and you have a thing. So they do those kind of things. And they contacted Diane and myself, I think. And they were looking at what to do, at doing something with NFTs, doing some experiments, and doing something for the new year. You know, I don't know if we still do that, but you send greeting cards for the new year. And the idea was to do something with NFTs, and also to do an experiment. So the experiment was that they sent to their mailing list, not their clients, but to prospects, so to their potential clients, they send a thing inviting people, saying, oh, you get a free NFT, you have to register there, give your email or things. And after that, for people who answered positively, we opened a Tezos wallet for them, a Kukai wallet for them, and we put 0.6 Tezos on it and send a free NFT. So there are those two things. And then we told them how to go and collect an NFT from the AlterHEN shop. And it was to see how people, how many people do it. So out of there, I don't know, many hundreds they sent. So 70 people accepted to have a wallet open, and out of the 70s, I think 50 people went to buy went to buy a card, and amongst those people, I think 5 put some Tezos after on their wallet. So we recruited 5 potential collectors through that. No, but it is very interesting to see, and it is not easy to get people from outside, from people who are not in crypto at all, to join the fun of collecting NFTs. But it was a very interesting experiment. And, we would like to do the same thing again, but it is a bit time consuming.
If I can add, these people were actually all working in museums, French castles. They were working in cultural agencies, galleries, art fairs, art magazines. So it is actually people from the, working in the traditional art market. Because, yeah, I don't know if you understood it, if we were clear enough, but one of the mission is definitely to show, of the mission of AlterHEN is definitely to show that the NFT space could be inclusive and as democratic as possible. We talk about contemporary art, and we don't talk about something else, and that a bridge can exist between the traditional contemporary art and the traditional contemporary art market and the traditional art market and the NFT space. So we are basically constantly taking the hand of people, whether it is artists or museums or collectors or traditional collectors, and we are guiding them. As Patrick just said, it is very time consuming, but it's also a very nice human experience, because you understand, what are the misconceptions, you understand, what are the questions. And it's a nice way to create a strong relationship with these people as well, and then they are becoming amazing ambassadors, because, like, let's be honest, most people are actually having quite bad thoughts when you talk about NFTs, except if they understood what it means really, and can understand that by a friend or by an artist actually talking about it. So we really we really value the voice of the artist to actually explain what it means, and also understand and make understand the different opportunities for an artist or for a collector or for an institution to actually start doing things or start experimenting on the NFT space. And also, I would like to say that, you know, this culture of experimentation or this playfulness, or actually seeing the NFT space as a laboratory is something very special to Tezos, because it's very like the gas fee, everything is quite cheap. The environmental impact is very, very low as well. So it is because of that, or thanks to that, that we can just experiment and we can just have a lot of fun. And I think, yeah, this playfulness is something really, really unique. And I don't know if you're also experimenting it, oh, sorry, very long day. If you're experimenting it, no, still don't get it. But it's like the 5 artists that we actually invited in our last exhibition, they are really starting to get it. They're really starting to play. They're really starting to collect and even to experiment with new types of media on different platforms. So yeah, that's really something special.
Yeah, I mean, it is. So I was actually recently talking to some artists I want to recruit, and they're the same age as me, so not really young, and they have a long, you know, they are in commercial galleries represented and things. And when I talk to them about NFTs, so first they didn't want to hear about it, and then I explained it's about edition, affordable, and then they got it. They say, oh, but we can experiment with something new, do new work, you know, adapt it to the medium of the online and the NFT, and they really thought, oh, we can do something else. And I think that's one of the interesting things, and it is actually one of the beauty, and it is also what led us and what made working on AlterHEN possible, is that we are totally at the beginning of the NFT thing, and we are maybe even before the beginning, so you can still experiment and invent whatever you want. You know, you can create your own platform with other ideas, with other development. Everything is so new that you can do whatever you want. The things might seem to be established, you know, the strategies to mint, to sell things, but in the way it's not true, because it is going to change, because we are at the beginning, before the beginning. So you can just imagine what you want and have an idea, find a little grant to develop your own site, your own platform, your own group, and you know, that's the beauty of the NFT, that it's fun, because there is all this energy and things.
Before we go on, do you have any question, or do you want to share something, an experience, an experimentation, or maybe you started to create your own collective of artists or your own gallery? No? Okay, everyone is very silent. So maybe we can talk about the different, I see something when I first.
Maybe some questions in the
Thanks,
chat.
Dylan.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dylan. Well, you know, like what we do is really, okay, all good. Yeah, basically we just want to have fun and experiment, and when we said experimenting, it's also experimenting with the art. Like personally, I'm a photographer and a video artist, and when I started to meet on Hiketnunk, I started to do 3D objects, and that's so much fun. And as I was just reading this afternoon, when you actually, like someone posted that on Twitter, when you do something and it's just for yourself, yeah, it is not having the same impact and the same excitement than when you actually mint it somewhere, and then you can see how people are liking it or not liking it. Just by experimenting, you become part of a community, and I think that's really something very special.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Same here. I mean, my practice also, although I use technology all the time, I mean, I program computers and so on and so forth, my practice was not at all adapted to NFTs. So I had to develop a new language and new practice in the past few months, and it has been a lot of fun. It has opened new possibilities because now people want to take the videos or the animations I do for NFTs for normal exhibitions. So it's kind of a circle, which is quite nice. And but yeah, I mean, and there is this community thing that is very important. And it's true that you don't get it as much in the contemporary art or in physical practices, although there is a bit the same thing in new media. Because in new media, in general, the artists go and install the installations because it's difficult. I mean, it used to be the case pre-COVID. So you would go and install the installation, and then you would meet the same person as you meet in other places in the world. And there would be this kind of small community. And it is it is the same thing with NFT, but power 10 or 20, because there are so many people and so many friends. It's true that it is really the special thing. And the collectors also are part of the community, which makes it also very special. The inclusion of the collectors. There's not, of course, there is a distance with the collector, but also some collectors are very close to the artist and really develop community, and that is also very specific to NFT, and that is very interesting.
I didn't know that actually galleries or museums were asking you to exhibit your GIF. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like how they heard about it, or what are they asking you exactly?
No, it's via there's ICI in Spain, so they've asked, and also I have an exhibition in a castle in Black Forest in Germany. So I'm going to have an installation in the castle, and in the city they've got a space in glass, and they're going to project some of my animations in there. So that's quite good.
And how do you explain that? Is it because like it's 2D, so it's maybe also easier for people to museums and art spaces to exhibit it instead of the installation and the performance that you would normally do?
Yeah, I mean, no, but this one, they have the two. So in a certain way, it's like a big solo show. I have not really only, but it is like a show in the city. But it's just that it was not part of my practice. There are a lot of new media artists who just show videos or installation. It's just it was not part of the thing I was showing or selling because now also. So it's just another element that I didn't know I could do, but that there is an interest for that. I need to rework because it's different if it's on the screen or projected and things. But no, it is an interesting development.
I would like to say also what is, and referencing to what Jean just posted on Discord. What is also quite special with AlterHEN is that we have this diversity in terms of message that we carry. So some artists are really advocating for social good, inclusivity, diversity, but also parity, gender equity. Some other artists are really advocating for climate justice, environmental, nature awareness, and environmental activism. We have other people which are painters and really trying to create a bridge between the physical paintings, the physical artwork, and the NFT. So, for instance, Bjorn is always selling the physical artwork each time that he's actually minting an NFT. And it's also very strong. Like we've done this. We actually gathered this group of 20 people kind of not randomly, not at all, but very organically. It was super natural. We just actually followed our instincts, I think. And naturally, we are speaking, like this diversity of 20 artists is actually speaking to so many different people. And for instance, today we have an art cast actually being exhibited on NEO. So NEO is actually this how can I say that, this exhibition space running on different screens that people are having at home. So you basically buy a membership, and then you have access to different kind of exhibitions. And Paul Valder actually curated one exhibition called Anti-Climatic, with artworks from Kelly Richardson, Alex Grover, Mihai Greco, and myself. And it is just fitting so well. Also, we were in touch with Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, and they were also looking for artists to actually exhibit in the exhibition they organized in the Metaverse last December, and they invited one of our artists as well. Just saying that we don't promote that so much, I think, but we do so much. And people are actually reaching out to us so much because I think they can relate to what we show or to what we are. You know, it's not about showing off. It's not about name dropping. It's really not about that. It's just about creating art together, good art, and really being very supportive and benevolent, not competitive, not about speculation, but also showing that it's a lasting thing. So it's, you know, we go slow, but step by step, we are still there, and we still actually carry the same messages and the same values. I think that's something very special as well. Like I've seen other marketplaces or other online galleries which were not so close to their values and to the message that they carry. So yeah, just saying that this is quite important as well if you enter a new space.
Yeah, amongst it's true that we've done quite a few things because we presented also at
NFT Paris.
Yeah, NFT Paris and
Art Basel Miami.
And Basel Miami. So we do quite few things. It's interesting. We actually we realized that we actually didn't do surprisingly enough towards the NFT and crypto world, which is something we are changing because that's the nice thing you can, because things go so fast, you can really turn quickly and just change that. So we're working a bit more in this direction now to communicate on both sides, not only on the contemporary art, institutional art, but also towards the crypto world or the crypto community, which is not something we're doing, but we are doing a bit more. Otherwise, oh yeah, we are doing also this. That's opening soon. Art Fair Philippines. We got contacted actually via Bjorn and Patrick Jamora, I think, who are two AlterHEN artists from the Philippines, and so we got contacted by the Art Fair to take part in their online version, because now, because of COVID, most art fair have a professional online presence. So now we are part of the gallery showing at this art fair, and it's very interesting. It should be very interesting how it is perceived by the visitors and by the collectors and also the other galleries. It's interesting to see. It is the same thing. It is very interesting to see how things are perceived and how that can be changed, because it's true that the perception of NFTs is somewhat twisted by the headlines that there has been during the past year. But it's good because now things are settling down and being consolidated and things. So now it's, I think, it would be good when NFTs are less in the headlines and more in the normal articles, a bit more serious. And so the quietness will enable us to do more interesting things, or more stable and long-lasting things, I think.
And also, I can speak about another experimentation that we are actually working on, which is a new website. So we really love our website, but we actually believe that we can identify new use cases coming from the traditional art market, coming from artists, institutions, collectors, and trying to actually learn from them, learn from this culture that we know so well, and trying to adapt it to so it will fit the NFT space. And we've been thinking about so many different things. For instance, like in the traditional art market, each artist, so not painters obviously, but when you are actually producing artworks in series, you always keep one artist proof. And that's something which is not really a habit in the NFT space, meaning that it's something that I was not even thinking about at first, but now I'm always keeping one of the NFT that I'm actually minting for myself. And that's also a way to keep an archive of everything that you do. And I even bought in secondary market something that one of my artwork, because I really wanted to have this back in my collection. So just better understanding what is the culture that we are coming from and trying to adapt it so it will, again, fit the NFT space. So this is just one idea, and we have so many of them. And hopefully, we are starting slowly to work on the website. Hopefully, it will be ready in a few weeks or so. I'm very optimistic. But the main goal is to experiment again with a website and see basically how people are feeling it. Patrick, do you want to add something about that?
What do I want to add? I'm sure I have something to add. Let me see. Yes, so we have this this new website, but I mean we're working on different ideas, and also we are building up a program because it has been quite irregular since the beginning. I mean, it takes time to establish things, and we are doing that in our spare time in a certain way. It's not our main activity, so we're trying now to rationalize in a certain way and to make it more regular, the exhibitions that we will have. So we are discussing with different people who are from outside the NFTs who want to have a show for the artists they select and things like that. So we have a couple that we are organizing at the moment, and then we are thinking of one directed to the Ketnum community, but we'll talk a bit later, but that maybe not too soon, because we might have people asking to be part of the show, which might get difficult. So there is that, and it's I can't remember what I was going to say something. I had something in my mind, but I went into another direction, and now it's gone. And one of the I've already said it, but it's nice to just have an idea, chat about it, and then work and go and look for some money, or you can raise some money by selling NFT and then do your thing and see how it goes, and then it goes in one direction, another, and it's nice. It's what the experiment is not only on the NFTs, on the NFT you can produce, or we can produce, but it's also an experience all around it, or how to build a community or do an adventure like that. Some people do a website just for an exhibition or just to sell one project, to promote one project. No, it is the beauty of the space. This thing, you can do whatever you want. It's what is nice.
I will maybe just share another idea that we had, and it could be nice actually to hear from you what you think, if you had similar ideas. So because we experimented already with the postcards, because we want to be as affordable and accessible as possible, because we believe that collecting an NFT is also supporting an artist and being part of a community more than just speculating, we're actually thinking to go towards the production of postcards as an habit, like for instance, because postcards from exhibitions are a very good way for visitors to collect and keep something from their experience. So we would like to suggest to our artists to select one of the piece, which will be automatically transformed into a branded postcard and sell in the online shop of AlterHEN. And before I showed you that we were doing this 500 edition at 0.10s, but then we are thinking that if you really want to remove the speculative aspect, well, you can just do open editions, and trying to, so the idea will be to have this automatic NFT producer from one NFT, so transforming one NFT into a postcard and minting it in an open edition. And I think open editions are not used enough, to be honest. I loved what John Carroll did a few months back when he, it was just for a very short time having this open edition, and then he shut it down, so it created speculation. But if you just leave it open, so it's just available for everyone, and there is no speculation. There is no just no limit. It's just collecting for collecting, and I just love this idea. It's just like celebrating. It's nothing else. Just sharing. What do you think about open editions? Have you already experimented it?
Hey there.
Patrick. Oh, hey.
Hey. Thank you so much for being here today. It's very interesting to hear your stories, and I think the open edition fits very well with the idea of buying a postcard. I'm someone that if I go to an exhibition, I always try to get at least a few postcards. I love doing that, and I think as soon as you indeed like having still that limited idea on it can also then maybe drive more the speculation to be like, whoa, I can collect something, there's only 500 of it, and it might go up in value. And I think the open edition aspect fits a lot better with the narrative of it being a postcard, and how I personally experience when I go to an exhibition and I buy the postcard. But yeah, would also love to hear if somebody has completely different thoughts than me.
Thank you so much for your feedback. And I believe some people will actually find that it's a silly idea and it won't make sense in the NFT space. So yeah, just Mifi, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, hi. I don't know, like in the NFT space with open edition, I find I love them. I do them every now and then, like not 10,000 or whatever, but bigger edition, like for giveaways, and then they became sort of this, sometimes had a bad taste because of bots just jumping in it, and I don't know what they think, but collecting loads. But regarding postcards, I remember like when I grew up, like late teens, early 20s, going out into bars and clubs in Germany and Hamburg, there were always like free postcards. There was always a stand like with, 10 different postcards, and they were sort of rotating every month. And, a fair few people always collected them. And it was just loads of fun to be part of it. And some were just commercial postcards, but there was always like half of them, or at least 1/3, being art, different pieces of art. And yeah,
True.
really like the idea that I think as soon as there's something like a postcard, and it sort of it broadens the fan base might be a wrong word, but it attracts different audience, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you actually put this memory back in my head. I totally forgot about all these postcards. Most of the time in bars or restaurants, they are next to the toilets. You have this wall full of postcards and you can take some. You're right. That's so nice. And in Germany,
Yeah.
you have them in restaurants quite often as well. Yeah, I
It
totally
was
forgot
great. I
about
mean,
that.
it was the perfect thing, like especially at that
True.
age, when you want to explore, you want to get introduced to new things, and then like it was more artistic when it started, and then over time it became more and more commercial. It's the same in a way like those music video channels that initially it was all about the videos and artistic, and then like the last few years of MTV, and I know it just became like mobile phone commercials and ringtones commercials. So it sort of changed over time, and it was the same with those postcards. But initially, it was super exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
the
was actually taking some and putting them on on my wall in my teenager time. So yeah, super nice.
yeah, same thing is happening with the NFTs. And well, anyway, but yeah, no, and we were talking about that with Diane. Is that I mean, I think it's something you're working on with Tezos on the hackathon you did. This idea of having museum tickets as NFTs, and so it goes back to the ticket being a collectible where you collect the memory of the visit of the museum, and it's really something that stays. I don't know, I mean, because it used to be something you would collect your cinema tickets or your museum tickets, and that would be the memories of the things you've done, and I think we can get back to that with the NFTs. Yeah, of collecting memories. It's quite beautiful. It's quite good to dream about beautiful things with the NFTs. But it's true that talking about the large editions, well, some people would advise against doing those kind of things, because in terms of NFT business, it's not always advisable to do that. But it's a lot of fun. And as you say, I mean, personally, I do regularly large editions, which means that my work is in 2,000 people's wallets. And that, I think, is unviable. Of course, it doesn't make my prices go very high, but that's okay.
But again, it's just a question of a diversity of offers. If you have very large editions, and if you have ones, and if you have 25 editions, like if you play with the prices, then you have something, very generous and very consistent as well. I think we need to think about the portfolio of NFTs and not just about one NFT. Definitely.
Hi. Thank you so much for everything that you've shared so far. I really enjoyed it. I specifically like the kind of the focus on slowing down. And I wanted to ask you about one, how as an artist, how can you become involved? And then also in terms of entering into the sort of the community. And then I'm also curious if you could just share more about how you're engaging as a community, how you continue to engage with the artists that are involved, like maybe what that looks like, and how you're doing so as it continues to grow. So I guess that's the first part of the question. Another question is, I know Patrick was mentioning that you're working with, or you were working with kind of larger scale exhibits and projects. I'm also wondering, I'm working with sort of larger, longer term projects and, finding ways to fit in the sort of NFT format. So I'm just curious how you also work with larger, creating editions or creating, smaller sort of NFT pieces out of larger projects. If that makes sense. And I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Patrick, I think the question was more for you.
I guess it's a two-part question.
So maybe because Patrick is actually installing. Oh, he's back.
Yes. Oh.
Did you get the question of Patricia?
Yeah, I got the first part of how to join and how to be involved in the thing. So for the moment, we are our group, our first group are in some way the link. We are not at the moment. It's not that it's a closed group, but it's not open either. So, but we are planning other exhibitions, but there's no. It's not like we grow organically, so it's the friends of friends of friends. So an artist would like one and suggest, and generally it's very flexible like that. There's no things, but we are evolving all the time and thinking of different ways of really forming a community, because at the moment it is a very small community. Because we are 20 plus at the moment, 5, and in a certain way the other artists that were, but it is an informal community. And after and now I forgot the other part of the question.
The other part of the question was more around larger projects. How, like, if you continue to work on your larger exhibits, for example, how do you negotiate between, creating maybe smaller NFTs that are more experimental, but are still maybe related to your larger project, or maybe used to fund the production of a larger project? How do you work with that? If you do, or if the artists in the platform do?
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you work with your NFTs. So we don't always personally, what I use is that I use but I had a bad practice actually. But generally the artists release the work that are in the exhibitions in one go. So it's their latest series that they put in the show. Personally, I took this bad habit of releasing like 18 or 20 works at the same time. I'm stopping that because it's really not how things should be done. It doesn't always work. So it's that after, for the moment, people do how they see fit in a certain way. So but I can't really answer in detail this thing, because I think none of us really work on large projects that are structured as a project and promoted as a project. Most people do series. I don't know if that answers, if that doesn't answer your question.
More or less, that's good. Yeah. Thank you.
I tried to not answer it, and I think I managed.
I think I will have a question for you, Patrick. How do you manage the prices between actually what you sell in galleries, art fairs, and then what you sell in the NFT space? Do you have a rule? Like, how do you actually, because it's two different words and two different prices and two different culture as well. So how do you, how you make sense of everything, and how do you actually put a price tag on that?
I know it's simple. Before I didn't sell anything, right? My practice being in new media, you generally don't sell. It's very exceptional that you sell something. Most of the incomes come from exhibition fees, because until recently nobody bought new media installation, or it is exceptional. There used to be like 3 galleries in the world who would sell this kind of work, and so very few collectors. It is obviously changing with the NFTs in a certain way, because now new media is becoming kind of traditional, because now the NFTs are the next thing. So I sold the drawings produced during my installation, the memories in some way, because most of my robot produced drawings, but they do sell for more if they are NFTs. Because when I sell the drawings, I also send the physical, so it's not the NFTs. But it's, there's no conflict, I think, because I'm not represented with a gallery. So it's not, and the work with the NFTs is different in nature with what I show in real life. But otherwise, when I sell the drawings, I sell them for more as NFTs. Not much more, but it's twice the price or something like that. Which is actually 200%. It's quite a markup, but it's not different.
That's super interesting. And have you ever tried, so are you also sending the drawing when you sell the portraits or via NFT or in NFTs? Or?
Yeah. So one of I have multiple accounts on Iketnuk or on Teia, on Tezos, and one of them is for physicals, where I sell the NFT and people receive the physical.
Well, my own experience of physical artworks actually connected to NFTs is actually pretty bad, meaning that in all the NFTs which from all the NFTs coming with a physical artwork, only one person actually requested to receive it. So I don't know, it feels like people prefer to buy NFTs than physical pieces. What is your experience on that? Patrick?
Oh, sorry, you got cut off, so I didn't hear your question.
Sorry. So no, I was actually wondering because each time I'm actually selling an NFT with a physical artwork attached, only one person requested to receive the physical print. So I feel that people are actually more inclined to buy the NFT and that's it. And so I'm wondering, like, what is like how people are reacting when you sell physical prints or physical drawings?
No, I mean they want them, so I have to send them.
So it works well.
Also, yeah. So I think, I mean, I didn't sell hundreds of them, but I think it's because also it's not a print. It's a drawing, so it is an original drawing. So I think it's that, because people, if they get a print, they could print it them. In theory, they might feel that they could print it themselves. It might be that different. I don't know.
It's quite different because when you receive a print, it's also a limited edition with a signature of the artist, and you receive the certificate for the print, and then the NFT is just a certificate for something else.
No, it's true. It's true. Maybe you should emphasize the fact that it's signed and numbered.
Yeah. Good point. Have you, like, in the group today, have you ever sold physical artworks attached to NFTs?
I thought about like doing screen prints of individual frames at some point, but wasn't quite sure whether it makes sense or not. Do like something like if it's a 25 frames loop, animated loop, doing like a 25 edition, and then attaching every single frames depending on the first buyer gets the first frame, second buyer gets the second frame, and screen print them. But I was never quite sure if the effort is worth, if it becomes more attractive. I don't know. So I never did it, or not yet at least.
I mean, some actually recently on Tezos more and more. I mean, there is a desire for physicals. DPZ Wise recently talked about physicals and enjoying the physicals, and so there is a desire for that. But it's funny you speak about the different frames of an animation. I find it tricky because I really work when I do an animation. On each frame, I try to have each frame interesting, a loop. And sometimes I do one of the frame as a unique edition. And I always think, oh, but the person who buys the GIF has got all the frames for the same price as the one. I always find it a bit strange. So I don't know what is your experience on that.
And you were actually referring to Tim Maxwell, and he's definitely doing well when we talk about selling physical artworks linked to an NFT. So I think he's a really good example. And Bjorn as well, Bjorn from AlterHEN, he's also always selling the physical painting attached to the NFT. But it works.
Yeah, and Tim had this multiple edition that he offered people that if they burned their edition, they can get a print, no cost. That was like one experiment he did like a month ago.
Yeah, Damien Hirst did that actually. Damien Hirst did this thing. I think.
Yeah,
it was
same
called,
thing as Damien Hirst, but in the Tesos environment and with his work.
Yeah, that's quite funny.
And do you have some numbers, like how many people actually burnt it? Because with Damien Hirst, I think that people prefer to keep the NFT, no?
I think that's same here, but I don't have the numbers. No.
Michi, I saw that you were about to say something.
I can't remember. I don't know. I just remember like last October I happened to be in Nantes and I met with Zaki and Law, and I remember Zaki was like Urban Drone. I think I don't know if he sells physical sometimes with his pieces, but I think he said like he would, if someone asked, he would probably do it. So I guess like quite a few people don't advertise physicals, but sort of keep it as an option, sort of in the back. If you have a high definition image that if people would like to print it and hang it on the wall, I guess hardly anyone would say no. I think, I don't know.
Well, actually, the first few weeks of Hiket Nunk, like I didn't know exactly that I couldn't really do that, but I didn't know that by asking, after buying the NFT, that you don't own actually the JPEG, like I was telling you there. And so I actually asked the artist, hey, can I just print it? Because I bought 2 NFTs. And he said, yes, of course. I'm giving you a third one. So I have these 3 beautiful prints, all framed at home. And it's so beautiful, but it's also proof of my naivety, because that's not something that you can do normally. But then if the artist is saying, yes, it's all fine. That's why, like on Versum, it's super interesting to see the different license that they have, because it's really respecting also the copyright of the artist.
Yeah, sure. Like I haven't minted on Versum yet, but the first time I tried to mint, I was completely confused by that option. Because it felt like what to do now? I didn't know. It was just like came out of nowhere. But it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's strange.
Well, because we talk a lot to traditional art collectors and traditional artists as well, and museums, this idea of copyright and being able to choose a license is actually quite crucial, because it's one of the main concerns when you arrive on the space, like what do you really own, what you can do, what do you really sell. So being able to be more explicit about it is quite crucial. When you when you talk to these people, and us as well, as I just said, like we need to better educate ourselves. Like, what do we really sell?
I'm not sure if it is entirely a good thing to have different licenses where you can, because at the moment on Versum you can give more rights that you would give in real life when you sell an artwork. When you sell an artwork, you always keep all the rights, yeah. Except, of course, the exhibition right, but all the reproduction and things are always kept with you. When now you set a precedent by giving the possibility of selling your reproduction right, which I'm not certain is a good thing. But it is just, it is an interesting experiment. But
Yeah, I think it's good to have the choice, you know, having different kind of licenses, not only one or none. And yeah, you just decide, but at least being more clear about what you are really doing, because it feels like it's super easy, you know, and even more on Hiket Nunk, it's so easy to mint. You just do it super, yeah, in a few minutes. But then, what do you really do? What do you really actually share? Like, yeah, more education is needed. Still. Do you have any question or something to share?
Anna
Matthias?
Maria, yeah, I think Anna Maria was trying to say something before.
Yes, hi everyone. I offered one time for any sales of my poems to send collectors my like a signed copy of my book, and it was funny because nobody wanted it. They didn't want to share their addresses. The ones who ended up collecting, they were just very like private about that, and I mean they liked the idea, but they didn't want to share their addresses. So I thought it was an interesting experience.
True, and I actually had exactly the same experience, you know, with a hackathon. It was amazing because we actually produced these T-shirts and hoodies with Hiket Nunk logo, and they are actually pretty cool. So we were just giving them away just to celebrate the hackathon. And I think we received like 70 addresses or something like that, while we had way more T-shirts and hoodies. But most people, they didn't want to actually share the name, and even less share their addresses. And that's so Web3. And I feel like we were really, again, naive, thinking that people will do that. And we thought that it was a nice gesture, but we were actually forcing people to do something that they didn't want to. So yeah, just good to share that sharing addresses and names is not really part of the Web3 culture.
I want to tell
Hi.
my. Oh,
Oh,
go on, sorry.
sorry, I didn't. No, go ahead. Go. Oh.
Oh, please, no, you.
I wanted to ask a question. Maybe it's a bit broad, and I would love to hear from both of you. What could individual artists learn from the journey and everything that you've learned? You've already like kind of put lessons that you've learned through your journey here and there, but yeah, would love to hear more. For us as individual artists.
Well, I will say, don't be too naive. It is still a very new market, and it's still a market where there is no magic. You need to work for what you are doing. Some people are trying to mint on so many different platforms and so many different chains, and then they wonder why they don't really sell. It's maybe that because I actually believe that you enter a space where your personality is very strong, where you actually need to show not what you stand for, but show show some values that you care for. But it could be just artistic values, or we talked about social good and environmental justice. but it could be also just the value of supporting, of being generous. We talked about open editions before. This is also showing something about yourself. So we don't talk about, like sharing names, but try to have a personality. I think that's something important, and try to also care for the community and care for others, and so people will care for you. But it's I've seen so many people are actually trying to set up the perfect promotional plan, and they were thinking about everything for months or weeks, and then like doing their first drop, and then nothing happened. Of course nothing happened, because you need to take time to actually get the trust and the community, and share a space and understand how the space is working. And when I was mentioning that some people are minting on so many different places and chains, like it is on each marketplace and on each chain, you have a different culture and different practices, different habits, different language, different, that you have different slangs. So I feel it's you just need to know where you arrive. It's exactly when you move in a new city, like you don't want to impose anything. You just want to listen. You become a sponge, and then you become someone. But yeah, just being generous and also humble, and taking the time will be my main advices. I don't know what you think about that. Does it make sense, or not really, or you're totally against it, or you prefer to have a strong strategy?
No, that's very interesting, and I think also very recognizable with my experience so far. Also, having experimented on different change and seeing that indeed the communities are very different, and that being engaged with those people and the collectors is very important. There's not a gallery doing that for you. You kind of have to, really represent yourself and be. I like the advice to be generous. That's beautiful.
And celebrate as well. Like we are all living a beautiful moment in this NFT space, and while the world is really, really difficult and tough, so we need to celebrate this beauty, I think. Patrick, do you have advices?
Advices? No, not really. No, I don't know. I mean, it's what I said before. I mean, there are already some established practices in NFTs and how to promote and how to that, and I think it's still possible to imagine different practices. The thing is to do things that fits you, that not go against your own grain. I think that things, because the idea, because it's quite intense, so it should be intense and fun, not intense and pleasant. And I think that the thing is to keep having pleasure doing it, and doing precisely what you want, because it's still that is in a certain way what is interesting. I mean, in my experience in the contemporary art space, and I think also in NFTs, is that as an artist, you do artistically what you want. That is the thing. After all, the earning money is something different, but in terms of your practice and your output, this is the deal. As an artist, you have to find exactly what you want to do and do it without any influences. And I think it's something to remember also in the NFT space. I think that's the only thing. It's not really an advice, just an idea like that.
And also maybe because we've been embodying a lot of artists as well, and collectors and foundations, taking the time to explain. There is, just saying that there is no stupid questions, and also valuing the one-one connection. That's so important. If you will do something and you will have fun doing something if you trust the person guiding you. So just take the time to onboard people and to explain them. Become this ambassador of this new practice, because you were a newbie as well. So it's just always good to to be thankful to the people and the community who help to join this space and then do the same to more people. But I think it's something that we do quite naturally on Tezos as well, because it's very supportive and benevolent. Or maybe it's just me and my ecosystem. I don't know, in my bubble.
So
Okay,
do
no
we have?
more questions?
Yes,
Wait, sorry.
exactly. No, don't worry. Do we have any other comments or questions? I think we have time for
Yeah,
one.
I have a
Okay.
question. What do you guys think will happen? It's not that you make a prediction, but what ideas you have about how will the traditional artwork and NFTs merge in a longer term? Because there's these people that say NFTs will be the new artwork, and there's also people that say, well, they will just continue to evolve in their relationship as independent things, or maybe with some links between them. But what's your ideas about this?
Oh, I mean, things will evolve. I mean, nothing will replace the physical experience of the art world, and for a lot of collectors now. I think the NFTs and the digital is another thing. So there will be overlaps, and I think the two, can converse and overlap, and also some people will never touch the NFTs, but I think it's quite open. I mean, at the moment, it's what I've said before. We are hopefully before the beginning. But I mean, the potential for it, both for the traditional galleries and newer models, is there. After it, there might be the bubble might burst, and then it might take a few months, a few years before it's re-emerge on different forms. We don't know. But I mean, the potential is definitely there for everybody, and also for the traditional art world. After, as you say, we don't do predictions. It's only potential ideas that we can think of.
And I will also add to that what we keep saying with AlterHEN is that the NFT space is just one part of the art market, just like you have the festivals, the galleries, you have the art fairs, you have museums, you have art centers and residencies. Well, you also have the NFT space with its own vocabulary, behavior, marketplaces, prices, habits. So it's stars as well, and its own culture basically. And because I've been actually working for museums for the past decade, I can tell you that museums and galleries, they really speak a different language, and it's exactly the same with the NFT space.
Thanks.
Well, thank you all for being here. It was really a pleasure to have you all and to share our experience and our adventures.
And because we really evolve in a very organic way. If you have any question, if you want to join any of our experimentation, just feel free to DM us. It's we are very humble, not really pressuring anything, taking the time to do things right and to, as we said, have fun. Just contact us if you have any question or any request as well. Maybe we can help you with some things. We are never really far.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, both of you. It was an amazing class, and I think AMA session as well, because we talk a lot about so important topic in the crypto space. So thank you so much for what you are doing to creating, such an inclusive part of this crazy world that we are living right now. So thank you so much, and of course, thank you to our residents to be so reactive and full of questions to our mentors. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Thank you
Matthias.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks a lot.